Welcome to Send It Sports, where we're going to be reviewing UFC 271 and having a look at the fights that are on the card, seeing what the best picks are, and what our thoughts are initially going into this card. We've done some research. We have our trusty book here. Donald Cerrone's up here. Let's get right into it. Let's see what happens. Let's see how this card is going to unfold. If you haven't already, leave a like, subscribe, and comment along with the video if you have any thoughts or you think I picked the wrong fighters. Today, we're going to be drinking Night Gallery Hazy Pale Ale. You should be able to see it on your screen now. We'll get this down us. We'll jump straight into it and see what fights that we have for this weekend. UFC 271, Whittaker versus Adesanya 2 is a big card. We're just going to have to be clever about the bets that we make for this week. Let's go. Cheers. Look at the colour of it. Oh, that's good. Okay, let's get straight into the fights for the fight card at UFC 271. We're going to start right at the start of the prelims. We'll make our way through. I'll let you know what we're going to bet on. May change the sooner we get, because there's fights like Derrick Lewis versus Tuivasa. And to be honest, I think the closer we get to that, the more I'm going to be back and forth. And the other one that I'm really kind of struggling with is Brunson and Cannonier. I feel like every day I'm changing between both of them. There's different paths to victory, and it really just depends how the fight plays out. But we'll get straight into this. Here we have Blood Diamond making his UFC debut, I believe. He's one of Adesanya's training partners. He's 3-0, but he has an extensive kickboxing background. And then Jeremiah Wells, he's going to be going up against. Jeremiah Wells here is a favourite, coming off a win, a ground and pound win to Warlley Alves. The interesting thing about Jeremiah Wells is he actually trains at the same place as Sean Brady does. They train together. I just think here this is a bit of a mismatch. Blood Diamond is really strange. He uses a lot of kicks, and I'm expecting to see it. But Jeremiah Wells has never been knocked out in his losses at all, and I don't think we'll be seeing that here. So what's going to win? Is Blood Diamond going to win by decision? No. Realistically, he's going to get taken down from the experience of Wells, and he's just going to look like an all-round better fighter and probably grind out a win here. I do think because of that, when he gets it to the ground, he'll be able to use his jiu-jitsu and grappling, that he should be able to get the finish here. So realistically, we're going to go for Wells, and we think he's going to win via stoppage. For me, because I want to play it kind of safe, because we really don't know much about Blood Diamond, there's a fair amount of hype coming into this. It's the very first fight in the prelims, but obviously because he's Adesanya's boy, there's a lot of people talking about him. Because there is that unknown kind of factor, I feel like we're just going to chase the under 2.5 rounds, maybe under 1.5, but we'll see where the value is. I don't think it's going to go to decision. I think it's going to stop somehow. So yeah, that's probably what we're going to play for this fight. Let's see what we have next. Here we have Douglas Silva de Andrade versus Sergey Morozov. And again, it's another interesting fight. This is a kind of standard stand-up fight in Douglas Silva versus Morozov, who's more of a grappler from Kazakhstan. Morozov going into this is the favourite, and realistically he's probably going to win by decision. Douglas de Silva only has one submission win out of his 27. The rest are either knockouts. He has big heavy hands that he's going to try and knock him out with. But Sergey Morozov has actually shown he has a chin against Taha here. He was getting rocked a few times, but he was able to make it out on the other end and grind out a win here. This fight is really just like a really experienced guy here in Douglas Silva, and he is probably gonna use that his experience there to try keep the fight on its feet. There's a chance he catches Morozov, but I just don't think he's gonna have enough power to take him out. I think because of this, Morozov tends to shoot for the leg, and then once he has the leg, he's just gonna keep driving at you until he's able to take you down. I think that means that we're gonna see a decision win here for Morozov, realistically. Douglas Silva has a 66% takedown defense, but against someone that this is their bread and butter, I don't think that's going to matter. He's going to be able to get him down, and that's where we're going to see the fight go. It's only 3 rounds, so it'll probably go by super fast, maybe be a bit boring, but hopefully it's not like the Nick Maximov fight. We see a bit more experience or some excitement, but we're going to go decision Morozov. The next fight we have here is AJ Dobson, who's coming off the Contender Series. You may have seen him. I'm pretty sure he got a submission win. Yep. Rear naked choke. I actually just tried to watch it not too long ago, but he's coming in and he's got big heavy hands. He actually had his opponent backed up the full fight, and then eventually just the choke made itself available pretty much. He didn't even have hooks in or anything. He was just able to get it from his own power. Coming up against Jacob Malkoun, who's Robert Whittaker's guy. We're seeing a common theme here. There's loads of people that train with Whittaker that are fighting, or training with Adesanya that are fighting on this card. To be honest, I think he's a little bit inexperienced. So is Dobson. Dobson's technique doesn't seem like the best right now, but I really do think going into this fight we're going to see him get the victory here, probably by knockout. Let me look at my notes. Yeah. Well, the other interesting thing about Malkoun is that one of his losses was to Phil Hodge. That's his only loss. Pretty experienced fighter there. Someone that, to be honest, is not going to be the easiest person to beat. And he was KO'd. I think it's going to be a similar story here. I think they're stand up. Malkoun's probably going to try make it a striking battle, but I think Dobson's power is going to just come through. These guys don't have a massive record. I think the inexperience in both of them is just going to lead to them having a striking battle, and I think Dobson's going to be able to get it done. So we're going to bet on him winning by KO. I think that's the bet. Cheers. And again, we have another one of Adesanya's boys, Ulberg, who's 3-1. He's going up against Fabio Charant, and Ulberg is actually going to be the favourite here. He's a big dude, even at 205. He's a big guy, and he has some crazy ass leg kicks and striking, and to be honest, he was looking good against Kennedy and Chekwu until he did end up getting caught. His output is insane. He's a really high output, and because of that, he's probably going to walk straight over Charant. We might actually add him into some parlays. Fabio has lost to William Knight and Alonzo Menfield. Yes. Going into this fight, we're going to see a bit of back and forth at the start, but I just think Ulberg's forward pressure and output and strength is going to get him the dub here. We're gonna bet on him winning via stoppage. I do think that's the most accurate thing. We're pretty confident about this one. I just don't see it going any other way. Unfortunately, that'll be putting Charant into a 3-fight lose streak, which isn't too great, especially when you're starting your career in the UFC. Hopefully, it does not affect him too bad where he gets kicked out, but that's what we're gonna do for that one. Okay, we have Alexander Hernandez, the Great Hernandez, versus Renato Moicano. This fight, again, seems kind of straightforward to me. All the advantage is going to be here for Renato. He's got great striking. The only problem is he's a little bit chinny. He's been knocked out by Ortega and Jose Aldo, Korean Zombie, but he does have 66% striking defense. He outstruck Kelvin Qatar. I hope I'm saying that right. I always get it wrong. Kelvin Qatar. Are you shitting me? I don't know. Other than that, Alexander has like really good cardio. He has heavy hands. There's a chance he can catch him. I just don't think we're going to see that. Is it going to go the distance? Probably not. These guys are going to be hitting each other real hard. I don't think we're going to see much wrestling here. It is a hard fight to call. It is a really hard fight to call. This one, to be honest, will be one of the ones that we'll probably stay away with and just enjoy. If we were going to do something, we might bet on fight not to go the distance, or I don't know. It is a tough one. What do you think? Let me know. Let's get on to the next fight. Ronnie Lawrence versus Mana Martinez. Ronnie Lawrence has pretty good striking, to be honest, for being a hardcore, very decent wrestler. He's looked good in his last kind of fights. Coming into this, he is a big favourite, and to be honest, it's quite right. Mana Martinez was taken down in the Contender Series, which was I guess not that long ago. I don't see it here, but apparently he's won his last fights was in the Contender Series. It just lets us know that it's going to happen. Going into this fight, Ronnie Lawrence is like the takedown king. He has loads and loads of takedowns, and he's just going to be able to do this here. Because of that, I think he's going to use his experiences with that. He's going to be able to take down Martinez. We're going to see him grind out a decision win here. It's 3 rounds. It'll go by fast. Martinez has heavy hands, but I just don't think he's going to be able to catch him. The first chance he gets, he's going to take him down and probably grind out a win here. That's how this fight is going to go. We have William Knight here who's stepping in on short notice, who has a 73-inch reach against Max Grishin, who has a 76-inch reach. William Knight, obviously, if you don't know, has the most insane power ever. If you see him, he's like this stocky guy that goes about with a big ass. His ass is fucking massive. That's the first thing I think whenever I see him walking out and chilling at. Is fucking impressive. His striking defense is just terrible though. He has a 36% striking defense, and it just never seems to be enough to block anyone's kind of punches that are oncoming. Max Grishin here obviously has the experience. He also has a 5-inch reach advantage, and he can hit him if he wants. He can take him down. He has better cardio. He really has a lot of path to victory here. But in saying that, he's going to be coming up against William Knight. This guy is able to just like use his crazy ass power and knock people out like instantly. He just has to catch them. It's almost like Derrick Lewis. Because of that, realistically, we would rather bet on this to go under a certain amount. The bet I've written down is under 1.5 rounds. We'll see what their kind of value there is here. Obviously, William Knight is the underdog, so maybe we go for that. But I just think it's such a tough one to call. I think we do that for the money, but Maxim Grishin really has a good chance of winning this fight. Especially, again, it's 3 rounds, short notice for Knight. His cardio is probably not going to be that great. He has been looking to try and improve these kind of things and make up for where he's making mistakes and taking care of his body. But I think under 1.5 is where we're feeling it, because someone's going to get caught, something's going to happen. There's no way this is a boring fight. So it's one that we will, again, closer to the time, we'll have to like commit to a decision, and that's what we're going to do. Alex Perez versus Matt Schnell. Again, I have a book here that I write for every single fight, information on like the fighters and who I think is going to win and my decisions. I feel like I need a standard. Maybe I need to type it up into a document so it's on my screen and I know what I'm going to say. It's nice and clear. I remember my points. I feel like I'm looking down a lot. Alex Perez lost last to Francis Figueiredo. That was his last fight, and up until he did get submitted in Figueiredo's classic guillotine choke, he was looking good. He brings the fight to people. He comes forward. He has strong kicks and punches, and I think we're going to see him bring the fight to Matt Schnell. Matt Schnell, again, is like another talented fighter here. He has the 4.5-inch reach advantage. They were supposed to fight before, but there was some sort of like weight problem, and then they pulled the fight. It was Matt Schnell. I think he wasn't able to make weight, or it just wasn't in a healthy enough way. He's rounded out his striking game, but as we've seen from his past fights, he's pretty chinny. To kind of get a victory here, he's going to have to out wrestle Alex Perez, and even just get into positions where he's able to wrestle and get it somewhere. Again, I don't think it's going to happen. We're going to lay down the pick here. We're thinking Alex Perez is going to win via stoppage. That is what it's going to be for this fight. I am sure of it. I don't think we're going to change that. But closer again, once we get to the time, we will decide. If you haven't already, follow us on Twitter. Follow us on Instagram. We will be posting all of our picks there. We'll also probably post another video on YouTube, just like short, being like, these are the bets, these are what we're making, this is what we're running with, here are the props. We have Roxanne Modafferi, the Happy Warrior, versus Casey O'Neill, a local Scot from Scotland. So I mean, what's not to like? She's fighting out of Australia, obviously that's where she trains. Casey O'Neill, this is a big step up for her. She has been fighting people off like a not a high standard as Roxanne Modafferi. Roxanne Modafferi, this is her retirement fight, and I think she lost to Talia Santos last year via decision. For some reason I thought it was stoppage. I think I'm thinking of Joanne Calderwood, or Joanne Wood as she's now known. This is going to be an interesting fight. Both these guys are both these girls, I should say, are jiu-jitsu experts. Modafferi's 39 years old and Casey O'Neill is 24. I think, to be honest, going into this, Modafferi's going to win on the feet. I don't think that's going to be the deciding factor in this fight. Casey O'Neill is going to have to try to take her down, and then from there is just going to have to control her. I think Modafferi's jiu-jitsu kind of knowledge is going to be enough to stop her getting a submission. Because of that, Casey O'Neill's going to win on points via decision. Yeah, I think that's how we see it, and then we say goodbye to Roxanne. I hope she'll take off her gloves, lay them on the floor, go out on a loss to Scotland's own Casey O'Neill. It's just going to be a jiu-jitsu match. I see it now. And we won't see any submissions or anything. I don't think anyone's going to be able to get caught with anything. I think they're going to be too switched on, and it'll be a good fight that's going to end in decision Casey O'Neill. All right, this card is super long. We're not even at the main card yet. The next fight that we have is Andrei Arlovski versus Jared Vanderaa. Arlovski is the old man of the division, which, if we know, when you get to heavyweight and light heavyweight, it doesn't really make much of a difference. We have, Texera and all these guys that are still fighting and looking good and winning at an older age. He is 43 and he's going to be coming up against a 29-year-old in Vanderaa. Andrei Arlovski is an interesting one. He only loses to really kind of top competitors, and I think going into this fight, where Vanderaa is quite rightfully the underdog and is going to get beat here. His last loss was to Romanov, who, if we don't know, is like a heavyweight wrestling kind of guy, and I think we see Arlovski win in a very similar kind of way. I think Arlovski has all the advantages everywhere. He's probably going to strike, take him down, win by ground and pound. There was a worry for a while about Arlovski and his chin, but he's not been knocked out in, maybe 5-6 years. And I don't think we see it on this card. This should be a nice, easy win for him coming into it, and that's what we're going to pick for this. I think it's just a straightforward pick. It's one that we're probably, again, more confident about. Now we can move into the main card. This is what we're most excited for. We have Nasrat Haqparast versus Bobby Green. Bobby Green's been looking really, really great recently. Really exciting fighter. His last win came to Ali Quinta, where he was able to knock him out, I believe, in the first or second round. I think it was pretty fast. It might even be in the first round. I don't even know if I count it that much because Ali Quinta had one foot out the door. He's doing his real estate thing. It was fair enough he beat him, but going into it, I kind of knew that was going to happen. And before, he had a really close decision loss to Rafael Fiziev. I remember watching it and being like, oh my god, Bobby Green's still going. His cardio and output was there for the third round, and I think that's going to be the story of this fight. Haqparast really does have the stronger hands, but I just don't think we're going to see as much output, and Bobby Green's probably going to get the win here via decision. This is going to be a technical fight. It makes me straight away think of Hakeem Dawodu versus Mike Trizano last weekend. I think we're going to see something very, very similar. The other thing to note is Haqparast's last loss just came to Dan Hooker, who, can we believe it, he took him down like 3-4 times during the fight. That's another thing that Bobby Green's probably going to take into account, and hopefully we'll mix that in with his striking and be able to take down Haqparast. It was effective. Bobby Green via decision is the move here. He's going to win. He's green. We're picking that. And then next we move to Kyler Phillips versus Rojo. Marcelo Rojo. For a second there I wanted to say Barcelos, but yeah, Kyler Phillips versus Rojo. Kyler Phillips is probably one of my favourite fighters, and he has been for a while. He's coming off a loss to who Sean O'Malley just beat, Raulian Paiva. If you hadn't seen that fight, I recommend that you go watch it. The first round is pretty much a 10-8 round. Kyler Phillips knocks him down twice, and it's a crazy, crazy round, and it seems like the fight was about to be stopped, and then all of a sudden his cardio was gone, and he has to fight another 2 rounds, and instead of it being a draw, which it should have been, Paiva picks up the decision win here. Other than that, Phillips is really good striking, good wrestling, good jiu-jitsu, is an all-round really good fighter. He's the biggest favourite on the card, so there's not a lot of value there in betting on him, but we really do think Phillips is going to have an easy win here. Marcelo Rojo has bad takedown defence, and And because of that, I think that's the path to victory for Phillips here. He's gonna be able to take him down and mix it up with his striking, and we're probably going to see a stoppage win for Phillips in this one. I was going to say decision. We'll see how we feel closer to time, especially when the weight cuts are done and how they weigh in on the scales. But I think we see Phillips win via stoppage. I think he's able to take him down and maybe choke him out. And then on the feet, I think he has a great striking advantage. He looks great the way that he fights. And that's what we're probably going to see going into this fight. And now we come to the last three fights. These are the ones that we are so back and forth all the time. We have Jared Cannonier versus Derrick Brunson. The title eliminator fight, or so we think. We never really know anymore. Cannonier did say that he wouldn't fight again unless it was going to be for a title elimination. And coming into this is tough. Brunson is probably the best wrestler in the middleweight division. He's coming off a win to Darren Till, where again he wasn't looking that great on the feet. Same with his win over Shabazian. Was not looking great on the feet, looked awkward and was getting hit, but is able to just grind out till he can take them down and kind of overwhelm them, tire them out, and get the win. He was underdogs in most of these fights, and it's just really whether he can take Cannonier's power. Cannonier fought heavyweight and light heavyweight, and because of that his takedown defence doesn't look that great, but at middleweight, if you just class his fights in middleweight, it's pretty high. I swear, I'm pretty sure I listened to a video that said it's something like 85%. The only other thing is, though, that I looked is Darren Till's takedown defense, if you look, says it's like 80 something percent. So he was able to get taken down by Brunson. Is it going to be enough going into this fight? I'm so back and forth. In my head, I think it's going to go to decision. 3 rounds are going to go fast. These guys have been in 5-round fights and they've gone to decision, or it's been late stoppage, or they're at this level that I think the rounds are just going to go by, and it's whether is Brunson going to be able to take him down and grind out a win, or is Cannonier going to defend it and then just keep hitting him, and Brunson's not going to be knocked out, but it's going to get stunned, and it's going to be enough for Cannonier to get the decision win. I know that thinking about this fight and really thinking about it, I'm like, this is definitely going to go the distance. It has to. Unless Cannonier comes out and starches him in the first round, which can't happen. These guys know this is a title eliminator fight. They're going to be coming in their best shape. It's again another one that's I'm going to be flipping back and forth with it all week. If you follow me on Twitter and Instagram, you'll know what my pick is. I'll make sure I'll let you know on here. We're going to have to commit as this week goes on. We see if any news comes out, anything that we can try to take a read from. It's a tough pick and spot to be in. Yeah, that's all I really have to say about it. Let's move on to the next one. 2 more fights. We have the co-main event. Derrick, the Beast, the Black Beast, Lewis versus Tai Tuivasa. If we're thinking about this one here, we have Derrick Lewis, who's coming off a really kind of fast knockout win to, is it Chris Daukaus or Kel Daukaus? Chris Daukaus. And Chris Daukaus was almost in the same position as Tai Tuivasa is. Like he's the next up and coming heavyweight that everyone's talking about. Tai Tuivasa is the same thing. He his last losses, if you look what he actually looked like at the time, his body and stuff, and his technique, and you've seen how much he's progressed. He is really progressing fast and becoming a clean striker. This is going to be a great battle on the feet. I've heard stories about Tai Tuivasa being the type of guy that can be technical when he wants to. And in my head, when I'm thinking about this fight, I am thinking, is Derrick Lewis going to do the same thing he did to Chris Daukaus and just wait and come forward and overwhelm him and almost do a Nagano volume of strikes? But can that happen? Can Tai Tuivasa counter like he did with Greg Hardy when he was rocked and knock out Derrick Lewis? We've not seen Derrick Lewis knocked out in a long time. We've seen technical stoppages, but we've not seen it. And this is probably the fight that I'm back and forth with the most out of the full card. Initially, my thought is I want to bet on Tai Tuivasa versus knockout. It doesn't make sense, but are we just going to go straight for the easy pick and pick Derrick Lewis? I can see it happening. I can see Tai Tuivasa doing it, catching him, rocking him on the head. Normally, instead of Derrick Lewis going out cold, he kind of just falls and then people are able to follow him up with strikes. Right now, that's kind of where my head's at. That's where I think it's going to go. Tai Tuivasa is on that upward trajectory. and I think he's going to continue to ride that wave. He's going to get the win there, and then from there, what does he move on to? I think Serogan's a terrible fight for him. I think Stipe would be a better fight for him, but can he win that? I don't know. I don't think so. We would pick Tai Tuivasa. That would be our pick here. We'll see if it changes later on in the week, but I think that's what we have to go for. Last but not least, the main men. We're seeing the rematch. I wonder if Adesanya is going to come out doing a little dance again versus Robert Whittaker, their second fight. Adesanya is undefeated at middleweight and looks pretty unstoppable. He obviously had his first loss against Yan, but it was at heavyweight, moving up to try secure 2 belts over 2 divisions, and it just didn't go his way. It was a decision lost. We've still not seen him knocked out or anything. Whittaker coming into this one, he's had some great fights against Darren Till, Cannonier and Gastelum, all decisions though, all making it to the end. I do think coming in, Whittaker is going to be a lot more composed and clever about fighting, and I think he will win rounds here. But when it comes down to it, is Adesanya going to be able to knock him out again? No. Will it go to decision? Yes, I think so. I think there's going to be a decision fight. Can Whittaker scrape a win? Do they want that? Probably not. I think we see Adesanya win via decision here. Yeah, the fight's going to take place on the feet. Whittaker says that he's going to use a lot more of his wrestling, but we know how it is once he's in there. And at middleweight, anytime Adesanya's been if someone's tried to take him down, they've not been very successful. It was only when he moved up to heavyweight and there was that big weight disadvantage that we kind of saw him struggle and get taken down, and he was still fighting to get back to his feet. I think we see that here. Adesanya's going to use his size and length to counter a lot on Whittaker, but I don't think it's going to be enough. I don't think it's going to be enough for Whittaker to scrape out a win or win loads of rounds. I think he wins a round, maybe 2 at the most, but I think we see Adesanya retain his belt and still the middleweight champion of the world. From there, I don't know what he moves on to do. It's going to be interesting to see what happens afterwards. And Whittaker, there's still some great fights from him there. If Khamzat moves to that division, it'd be great to see Khamzat get tested against some of these guys. I'll be honest, this is delicious. Highly recommend it. If there's a drink anyone wants to suggest for next week, let me know. If not, I'll see you probably in a couple of days. I'll release the bets to what we're going to make. If you haven't already, follow me on Instagram, follow me on Twitter. Any interaction would be greatly appreciated. If you have any recommendations, comment below. Or any thoughts on any of these fights, comment below. Let me know. Let me know if there's a reason I should be picking someone else or I'm wrong about something. Anyway, have a great rest of your day. I'll see you shortly. Peace.